At some point in the digital age of boss babes, new money, and ambitious rookies, we stopped consulting our village's wisest. Women have been the heartbeat of the world within their respective communities, workforces, and families since the dawn of time. They are the magic makers, the peacemakers, and the ass kickers. Let's celebrate them with the Matriarchy Party.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the Matriarchy Party. Today, we have such an icon for you. We're going to learn so many tips, so many cool things from the one and only Marissa Machado, not Machado. Get it straight, pass it on, Machado. She's a Hollywood veteran with an impressive career in the entertainment industry as a celebrity men's groomer for the Jonas Brothers, Michael Keaton, we met through Zachary Levi, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. She has so many cool clients. She's been in the business for so long. She's worked with some of the biggest stars for over 15 years, helping them look their best for red carpet events, photo shoots, and film sets. Born into a humble background, the daughter of hardworking parents who instilled the values of perseverance and dedication. I love that line. Growing up surrounded by boys and natural affinity for understanding and connecting with men, which ultimately led to specializing in men's grooming. But she can do women's, glam too, but that you got to find your niche. She's, her client roster is unbelievable. Beyond her professional pursuits, she's passionate about maintaining a healthy lifestyle, the power of self-care, and prioritizing physical and mental well-being. I've learned so much from you in that capacity. I love your Instagram series of just like, get up, let's sweat, let's do it, and getting dressed and feeling your best. I love all the things you're about. When not working, you can find Marissa spending quality time with her family and, of course, her dog, Poppy. I haven't met Poppy yet, so that is on me, and hopefully she'll make a podcast appearance today. We met in 2019 on the Shazam Yes tour, like I mentioned, with probably around 7 or 8 airplanes in a span of 3 weeks, and now I'm just so delighted anytime our paths cross in person, but I'm cheering her on from afar on Instagram. Just everything she's doing in her incredible and award-winning art and industry. Welcome to the party, Marissa. I'm so grateful for your time. I know you're so busy.
That was quite the intro. I don't think anybody has ever dedicated their time to me like that, to give so many kind words. And I really appreciate that. It's nice to see you too, Court. Your beautiful face, always so bright and smiling.
I am so happy to see your face. And of course, I feel like that's what the Matriarchy Party is all about, is giving flowers to people. And it's always like, it's not awkward at all as I read your bio at you, right? But, I like it.
It's funny because that's like a new bio. And so I really hadn't heard it. It was kind of, anyway,
you're like, oh,
long
we're
story.
Just testing
it was,
it out.
Yeah, long story. That was a newer bio that had been done. And so when you asked me for it, I was like, oh yes, I do have a new bio. I sent that to you. I read it through and I was like, oh yeah, this one works.
I like it.
And so then as you read it back, I was like, oh yeah, I do like that line as well.
I like it.
Yeah.
It's good. Well, and I think I don't know, so much of our business is like smoke and mirrors and like what is currently happening, which is great. And that's the resume or the highlight reel. But I love to talk about like family life and how you grew up and just like a little bit of that, because we both grew up like in similar ways. I grew up on a dairy farm, but like you were also like farmland adjacent.
Court, wait, I didn't know you grew up on a dairy farm. I was born on a dairy.
No, wait, we're both dairy heirs?
Yes. Okay. So I'm the youngest of 3, but my parents had lived there since they were married, and they lived on the dairy with my grandparents in a house, another house, my aunt and uncle in another house. And they lived there until I was 1. So my 2 other brothers, have memories there. I don't. Wow. But yeah, I was raised on milk from the cow. Matter of fact, my mom and I, we were just talking about it this last weekend. And yeah, my dad would go out, and she said he'd fill this like kind of tin can that kind of reminds me like the way it would
jug.
Yeah. She'd go out and pour that. He'd go and get it, fresh milk, bring it in. They put it in the fridge. And she'd said this like layer of fat would sort of just sit on the top, and kind of just settle.
Yeah.
And then you would just sort of, give it a jig, and that was milk. Yeah. So that's what I was raised on. So yeah, we're both dairy farm gals.
My sisters and I, wow. We call ourselves dairy heirs because we think that's hilarious, but I'm also kind of a poser in the way that by the time that we lived, it was my great grandma Gladys, her and my great grandpa. She was like every single day of your life. I mean, no days off, cows need to be milked. But like by the time I was born, it wasn't a functioning dairy farm. Like our farmland that we lived on, there was corn and cotton and people like growing things on our land, but it was the same kind of situation. Grandma lived here, cousins lived here, basketball court,
Yeah.
barn. We lived here, cousins like all on the same acreage.
Right.
But wow, started from the farm and look at us now. Started from the farm where now we're here. I can't
That's
believe we
why
haven't
we're
talked
hard
about that.
workers. I
That's
can't believe
right.
we haven't either.
That's so
But
weird.
yeah, my grandparents continued to live on a big piece of land where my dad's a hay broker. So we moved off, we all kind of branched out, and I grew up in a normal neighborhood, what I like suburban neighborhood,
Yeah.
but I had animals. I raised pigs and steers. And so I had that life always, and my grandparents lived on that big land. So it was always part of my life.
I love this so much because to know Marissa, if you follow her on Instagram already or know her career, you were so glam and stylish and chic. Not to say that like people who work and live on farms can't have also like the duality of being chic
True.
and know things about style. Like that's just, it's either in you or not, I guess, personal style. But I think you wouldn't think that what was your background just because you're so sophisticated. And not to say, I mean, like I grew up in a similar way, but it's just funny, like being in the entertainment industry.
I hear what
with
you're
other
saying.
people. You hear like, it's just, yeah, you're not giving me grew up on a farm vibes, I guess is what I'm saying. Until you really get to know you and you're like, no, all about animals and family. And I love it. I love learning about interesting backgrounds because sometimes it feels like everybody grew up the same way and went to USC and has just like lived in LA their whole lives and they don't know anything other than LA. But
yeah, I always knew that that I was different in that way, that I had something kind of cool. Well, people didn't think it was cool, but I had something so different about me, that I've lived in LA, since I was 19 and pursuing the career in Hollywood. And I always thought it was really, that was sort of an interesting fact about me.
Yeah.
But as I've gotten older, 20 years later in Los Angeles, the truth is, I really think it is the most interesting thing because I just, in a way, I crave the simplicity now of what I grew up with then. Whereas then all I wanted to do was experience this world I'm in. And now I just want to experience the simplicity in life. And as you mentioned previously, the family, the animals, all those things, just touch, feel, whatever. And that is sort of what I've been trying to get across in this last year of my life on my social media is like, stop for a second, like look around, see what you have, see what you're able to do, and just do it because it'll give you so much more joy.
Yeah. Well, and just there's so much to absorb beyond the screen, beyond like the smoke and mirrors, content creator culture we live in that, God, I relate so much to that just of like, couldn't wait to get out 16 years old. I'm like, where am I going to college? It's out, it's in Southern California. And then now I do feel like it's like our, elder millennial, like, what is it? Midlife crisis pipeline. Like now, instead of like sports cars, like maybe back when we were young and that was a thing, it's like, you're going to have a homestead and get some land. And I'm like, is it just getting older? Then I'm like, God, I couldn't wait to get away from that when I was younger. And now I'm just like, I see, I just want to live in more seclusion and have some animal. I'm like, pull yourself together. Who are you? But I totally relate.
I know. And the idea of being able to get like fresh food, produce, whatever it is in your backyard or whatever. Yeah. The simplicity of it all,
totally. Grow your own food and
I mean, look, it's a lot of work, but
I'm
the idea of it all.
The idea of it sounds great. It's a different kind of hard work, but in the crazy time where you're like, the world's on fire, I should learn how to grow my own food because who knows what's going to happen. Not to doomsday prep or anything, but still being able to grow your own food.
Just, it's a way to bury your head in the sand and just find a project.
Honestly, do have a hobby that uses your hands that doesn't involve a screen. I think is so important. Well, the podcast is Matriarchy Party. Who's your matriarch we're talking about today?
My matriarch is my mother, Julia Machado. My mom is my best friend. Growing up, she was the hardest person in my life. She was so tough on me. And I'm so grateful for all of it now. Gosh, yeah, truly.
I can't wait to hear more about her. That is so relatable. Moms and daughters, relationships are complicated, but like, that's why we're the way we are and like
Yeah.
crushing it and pushing forward and so determined is because we had strong mothers. Who
Yes,
expected a
very
lot from
strong.
us. So very, very strong. Still are
Yeah.
very strong. Well,
She is, and I still respect her the same amount, and even more. So
still respect her, still scared of her. You're like, I don't care if I'm,
it's funny.
whatever age you are.
I would have said I was still scared of her probably until last year. But then in this last year, I don't know, something about myself maybe turning 40. I'm not sure what it is. I mean, I know there's a lot of other things to it that are going on, but we've just sort of rounded this corner where I really just feel like we're just like in it together now.
Oh, I love that.
Like I'm not scared of her in a way that I always was,
Yeah.
But
no, I think the older you get that you're like, oh, I still like, the respect is still there, but you're like, the guards are down and you can actually see, you're like, we're all just like little girls figuring it out. Like this is my mom's first time being a person too. So like you have more empathy the older you get for just like, nobody was given a handbook, but.
Yes. And my grandmother, my mom's mom, she passed last summer. So that's part of what has gone on in this last year as well. That has just bonded my mom and I in a different way. And also, connected us in a way of, I was always really close with my grandmother, but you learn so much through somebody's passing.
Sure.
And fortunately, sometimes it takes that to learn things about them.
Yeah.
And with that, that's where I feel like my mom and I have really sort of come to this different place in our relationship.
Yeah, I can see that. It sucks that it takes some like my momentous, devastating event for like the dynamic to change in that way. But
right. I mean, and with my grandmother, it was simply life. She had lived a great life, and a long life, and it was just simply time. But yes, it can be sad, and it can also be, as this one's been, like a real just sort of learning process.
Yeah, it sounds like it. I mean, yeah, it's still going to be sad. It's still the loss, even if it's like celebrating such a life well lived and a long, healthy life. And well, I can't wait to hear more about both of them. I always start this off by when we think of a matriarch, we think of a woman who's the head of their family, tribe, or organization. When in your life did you feel like you've had to demonstrate those traits, whether by necessity or not?
I suppose I have always felt in a way that I am leading some type of tribe. I guess I always have felt, I don't know. I have always felt that I'm leading the way in some way, whether it's nobody's following me or I'm just doing it on my own. And I guess something that is maybe unexpected or a way that I didn't expect to feel that is I 9 years ago became a stepmother. And I have a stepson he's going to be 21 this summer. And so I've had to lead in a way that, through what I learned from my mom as a mother, but also not being my child and navigating that, showing love, and also parenting at the same time, learning how to navigate that. I really feel that that's a way I've had to learn to lead that is so different from anything else in my life. And, it can be kind of a tiptoe process. And then, it can also be so gratifying because you kind of think to yourself, oh, I'm good at this.
Yeah. You're like, oh, this is something that was part of my bingo card. And now.
Yeah. Or maybe, you know what? I wasn't great at it that day. And like, this is how I could do it better, but I don't know. Does that really answer that question?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it sounds like you've been ringleading and wrangling your whole life. So maybe that was like with your brothers, just as, even if you're not the oldest daughter, I feel like the sisters are ringleading brothers, or maybe it was like in high school or school that you were like on clubs and the leadership of it. But like, obviously like becoming a stepmom, I feel like that's in some ways, maybe even harder than a bio mom in a way that you're like having to tread lightly on parenting and being a unified front, but also not overstepping, and like parenting with multiple people.
I guess I was just sort of leading my own way because where I grew up and the world that I lived in wasn't really understanding what I saw for myself. So I was sort of just leading my own way without anyone really following or doing what I was doing.
I love it. Well, now I feel like you are leading a lot of people, whether like intentionally or not. I feel like in your business of being a creator as a groomer and then being a creator, like creating content and putting it out there, I feel like you're influencing many. So it feels like you're a matriarch in a different form.
Well, thank you. It's so funny to hear like a creator, because for 16 years, I've been a men's groomer, and that's how I've introduced myself. That's how I've identified. And just in the last year, did I sort of find, I suppose, the confidence or the I don't give up in my attitude to start putting myself out on social media and just sort of talking a little bit about more of what I do, whether it is working out or getting dressed or to go wherever or come to work with me, whatever it may be. It was just getting the confidence to put that out there. And I always say, to put yourself on social media, it's, I don't know, you can become a little bit insecure. You think maybe I'm annoying. Do people really want to see this again? Like, I posted a workout yesterday. Do they want to see another one today? I was in the sauna yesterday. Do they care I'm in it again today?
They care.
You have to tell yourself, like, listen, maybe somebody didn't see it yesterday that's going to see it today.
Right.
And slowly I would start to get either a message or in real life, somebody saying to me, hey, I really did not feel like getting in my workout today or whatever, but I just got out of bed and I went for a walk because I saw your post. And to
That's
me,
cool.
I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do it again tomorrow. So it's like every time I get a message or somebody in real life telling me that I was able to motivate them in a way, then I know that I should do it again tomorrow. And there are certainly days out of the month that I'm just like sick of myself and think that nobody really cares. But it's like, okay, just keep going, because like maybe one person. And the truth is, it's really to hold myself accountable,
Yeah.
and take that in, because if I start thinking, well, look, somebody might be depending on me, then it's like I have a responsibility.
Sure.
And I react well to responsibility. I like lists. I like responsibilities.
Yeah.
I like have things to do. So that's really what that is for me right now.
I like that because I think that sharing sometimes, I mean, I think when you have your own business, it does feel, I was just talking to somebody else about this morning, that it feels like, oh my gosh, she's on a plane again, going to these, like, It feels like it's very showy when you're like, I want to be showing that I'm booked and busy and I am working with top. I mean, that's like a part of your business marketing model. But you do have those same thoughts that I'm like, I guess people can mute me if they want to mute me, but like it's my highlight reel. It's my digital scrapbook, but it's also like a component of having your own small business. So, I think ultimately people want to see it. Everybody's consuming the weirdest, like cleaning your kitchen content. When I look and I'm like, how am I entranced in this, like, get ready with me, or like, let me like clean my bedroom, and the time it takes for me to do my, wash my and dry my bedding. And I'm like, okay, I want to watch this. And I'm like, what? We're all consuming everything. So I think it's going to resonate with somebody, and like getting that real-time affirmation in real life probably helps you keep pushing on those days that you're like, nobody cares if I'm at the sauna again. But I feel like you're living the life. It's not just like once every 6 months you're at the sauna. It's like, it's part of your lifestyle, and like balance and wellness at home is just as important as integrating it in your busy life. That's the hardest part.
Yeah. Yeah. To play on what you were just saying is, it could come off showy or this way or that way. I find for so long as a men's groomer, I was hiding behind the job, only posting the red carpet, the editorial, the whatever, because I wasn't allowed to show the behind the scenes.
Right.
It was not cool for men to be shown having their makeup done. You could maybe show touching up hair, but that's the extent.
Right.
I mean, so I wanted to express more, and I also was thinking, but I do more than just this.
Right.
So let me just start showing a little bit about what I do when I'm not working, because let's be honest, I know the life of a freelancer, we don't have a normal schedule. We have to find ways to keep busy and fill our time. I just came off of like a 4-week work bender where I could not come up for air. And now I have like a week and a half of just freedom. And if I don't fill that time, I could become depressed. I could start questioning why I'm not working, which is what I used to do.
Yeah.
But the truth is, I don't want to work like I used to. What do I want to do? And those are the things I want to do. I want to appreciate that, like, my legs work and I can get out and go for a long walk.
Yeah.
I want to appreciate that the birds are still chirping, like the tiniest things. And so it's like, let's go out and do that, and hey, I'm going to bring you along with me. And I'm going to bring you along with me when I do go on my work trips, because it might seem really glamorous. And like, I, like you just said, get on planes and get on cars. I have to clean brushes and sponges at the end of every night. I have to get up and look good before everybody else to make them look good.
You don't
and that's
sleep.
all of it.
You don't have time to even see the city most of the time. And it's still your work that you're working 12 plus hours a day. So as much as it became a like,
one thing. Yeah. Hey, let me show you the behind the scenes of all the glam that you usually see, which is the red carpet, the editorial. Like, let me show you this, like, behind the scenes, and I'll bring you along with me. And that's kind of where, I've been going with what I've been doing, and like kind of trying to take, that forward.
Well, and I have been bullying you with my unsolicited advice for years of saying, like, get ready with me.
I was going to say that.
We want to see it. I mean,
no,
because even
I
if
was
you
going
can't
to
show the
say,
client, but I think people like it. No, yeah.
I don't mean to step on you.
No.
I meant to say, I got so caught up in my own words back there. I was going to say, last year we went to Italy and London and a few places together on a work trip. And you and I kind of just filmed a little bit of video of ourselves, and I kind of filmed a little bit of the trip. And at the end I was like, hey, can you get a little content of me getting on the plane now,
Yeah.
And then I just put together this little video, and I was like, I'm just going to post this reel. It was before I was really even doing the reels, and I was more kind of testing myself out on TikTok. And I was like, this is fun. Actually, I think people are more interested. And that video that, we had done on that trip really is what led into more of the sort of come to work with me vibe.
I love
so
that.
So you definitely did push me into it. For sure.
I mean, you're so good at it. And I think you're so stylish and talented that I'm like, well, I want to see, like, what products are you wearing? I think from like the first 2 days I was with you, I was like, okay, I look crusty and dusty and you're very glowy. Like, what do I need to put on my skin? Okay. Josie Marin, all the oils. Okay, great. What do I need to do? Where'd you get those shoes? Send me a link. Like, I think people look to you even outside of being a content creator, influencer with a like it, know it. You're already influencing in your day-to-day with the products that you're using. Another thing I want to say though, so I guess to land that helicopter, so happy that you're doing that, because I think that people are like hungry for it and want to see like behind the curtain, even if you can't show the final result until it's on a carpet. But I'm like,
right.
Isn't that the patriarchy that like women can do get ready with me, but like a man's supposed to we're all believing that they woke up like that.
I know.
They're using a 3-in-1 shampoo, probably not your clients, but I'm like, women have 75 it's adding hair, removing hair, adding tan, like exfoliating nail. Like there's so many steps and hours of preparation for these events. But men, just like brush their hair and take a shower? Like they're getting tans and under eye concealer and manicures, and it's so funny. Like, but I'm like, that you can't show that. And everybody's insecure, even like the hottest, most talented people that we work with, everybody that you think is the most confident, everyone's playing pretend. And
well, everybody's a human being.
Yes,
everybody's a human being.
But that's just funny to me, because I'm like, I never thought about that. Like, you can't really show that they're like getting a little bit of like touch up.
No.
On their face.
It's so taboo.
I'm like, but women, like you just it's expected that they got their glam done, hair and makeup. But like, men are doing it too. Oh my God.
I have to say that the younger generation is certainly more open to it, because it's the world that they're used to, almost to a point where I feel that some of my the guys I've been with less time versus the guys I've been with more time, it's almost like they're expecting me to take out a camera. And when I don't, it's like, hello, do you not care about me? Do you not want to get this content? So now that I've been doing the come to work with me, and my clients do follow me, so they see that I'm posting these, and the way that they turn out, I'm never showing anything. I'm never showing too much. So now I'll say, hey, do you mind if I film a little behind the scenes of us getting ready for my come to work with me? I'll never use sound or whatever. And a lot of them are like, yeah, sure. Like, no problem. So it's both of us getting comfortable
Yeah.
with it. You know what I mean?
It's pushing you to now ask, where that wasn't part of the process before because it was just assumed that you
I
couldn't.
would have
And now
never.
you're like, I'm sure the younger generation too are more open than some of like your heritage clients who have been working their whole life in the business who are
Right.
like old school and are like, no, I don't need an Instagram to get work. I'm like, I can't. And you're like, okay, I'm not going to ask you.
Yeah, I'm not asking Michael Keaton
I'm like,
to film behind the
vlog.
scenes grooming.
Yeah, but like the Jonas Brothers are obviously very social and like they all very much play the game on like trending. Like, so they're probably like, yeah, why aren't you asking me? You're like, I don't know. I worked with you for over a decade and I just didn't want to overstep. And they're like insulted that you're not
Exactly.
asking him.
No, that's exactly it.
Well, I think you kind of touched on this, like what success has meant to you as it's evolved. I mean, we kind of talked about it a little bit already, but like success probably looked one way. And then as you're getting older, it's like a slower, more balanced pace and more like recharge time. Would you say?
I think that I grew up, or we grew up in a time of that sort of hustle mentality, that more is more is more. And I just feel like, look, I think that I probably started with a bit of a chip on my shoulder, just having to prove myself to everybody from my hometown or my previous world that I was a little bit crazy for going after this career. So I certainly had like to prove it. You know, once I was able to do that, I don't know that I ever felt, I think that I proved it to other people before I ever even proved it to myself. I don't know what I was trying to prove, but I just never felt that I just have always felt there's more, as I said before. Like I've never felt I'm at my peak until, to be totally honest, buying a house. I mean, like
That
not
was
by
the
myself.
milestone?
Yeah. And it wasn't, I wasn't able to do it by myself. You know, anyway, that to me was a real milestone, I think, just in Los Angeles, because it's so difficult here. And I felt really accomplished at that point. Like I had something that I owned to show for, not to show for, to show myself, like of all the work. Because to be quite honest with you, like in a very Carrie Bradshaw way, like how many pairs of shoes can I buy? You know, and I do. I love stuff,
fashion. We love
been
it.
told.
Yes.
I love things, as I've been told in my house. So to be able to, you know, own a home, at that point I felt really accomplished and like, okay, obviously I have to keep this up, but I'm at a place now where I feel that I can just enjoy and keep doing, not climbing so much. I don't feel that I'm on that like ladder anymore.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Totally. I mean, it's interesting the milestones that we set. I don't know who sets these, but I think there's some kind of like, I don't know, you find a partner, you have kids, you have a white picket fence, you buy the house. Like it's these milestones that like societal norms, I guess, put out there. And when you're tough, especially when you're like leaving the smaller town to LA or a big city, you of course want all your haters to be like, oh, she's really doing the thing. But I do think like in your 20s and your early 30s, you're grinding. It's now I think the younger generation is like, there's more of an emphasis on like not taking it so seriously and not that hustle culture, which for better or for worse, I would say
a little too extreme, I'll be honest.
Yeah, I was like, so that's another thing. I feel like all of us who kind of ate shit for at least a decade.
Yeah, like you could use a little, I'll be honest.
Yeah, I was like, well, I love that. I see that, but maybe there's a balance of both. But it is cool to be in the era that's like, okay, now we're achieving, we've hit these milestones that the society or our parents or we have set for ourselves, and then being able to kind of like, oh, I'm going to prioritize actually like my own well-being, like body, mind, and soul. And like I always say like creating a life I'm not trying to run away from. Like I love the travel. It's so exciting that people would pay me actual money to gallivant across the world. It is work. It's work too.
No doubt.
I'm living my wildest dream that I never thought was possible. But like, it's just as important to have like the dog walks and like the date nights and the like normal personal life. That's like the yin to your yang, but success.
It's the things that like maybe our parents would have thought were like accessible or, you know, not necessities, like, I don't know, getting a massage or things like that.
Oh,
Whereas
yeah.
I put them at the top of my list. It's like, to me,
Yes.
that's taking care of my body
It's like a
because I
car
push my
tune-up.
body,
Yeah.
so it's all these things that I prioritize that my mom would have mentally not been able to, and also probably not afford, to be quite honest, with
Totally.
the
It's like a
3 children in her
frivolous
life. But
thing.
yes. And, to prioritize taking care of my well-being.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't have to be expensive. It can be a walk,
Totally.
like it doesn't have to cost money.
Leave your phone at home and go on a walk for like prioritizing
Yes.
your own self. But it is, I mean, it's a
Yes.
privilege to be able to do that, but like prioritizing the massages, the chiropractor, like
Yes.
coming back from like such a exhausting, hard on your body.
Yeah.
You're dehydrated.
Taking care of
you're
yourself.
You're just taking like you would like a tune up on a car. So,
Exactly.
but yeah, it's just a mindset shift. Totally. Well, let's dig into Julie.
Okay.
Let's dig in. She's your mom. Did you spend a lot of time together growing up? Like, did she work inside and outside of the home?
Yes. My mom is one of those mothers that, unfortunately for other mothers, like, she really, really, put the, like, you can do it all, like, put them to shame.
Yeah.
She did it all. However, looking back, maybe she didn't get to enjoy her life as much as she could have. My mom she just retired in January of this year.
Wow.
She worked my entire life, and she worked all day, 5 days a week. She also went to the gym before or after work, and she also cleaned our entire house my whole life. And she cooked every night.
Oh my gosh. She really did do it all.
And she did laundry. Like, I could wear something today and tomorrow morning it would be folded and like ready. I could wear it again if I needed to. She's just somebody who has an extreme amount of energy and this level of get it done that I've never experienced. So I know why I'm the way I am.
Yeah.
It's because of her.
Yeah.
And some of these things didn't they kick in slowly as I age, like little bits of her kick into me as I've gotten older.
You open your mouth and your mom comes out?
Oh, yes. Or I pass myself in the mirror as I'm walking or something. Like, and I go, oh my gosh, it's Julie.
It's my mom.
Yeah. But yes, she really did do it all. Again, my mom she had to be she was tough on me though. And she was strict and, she never stopped working. Let's put it that way.
Wow. I mean, that seems like impossible shoes to fill for all of her friends and peers and family. I'm sure, obviously, it's no surprise that you have fallen in those footsteps as far as like the work ethic and just making everything beautiful around you and just like keeping up with your wellness and workout routine. Like, so much of your behavior is modeled probably after her.
Absolutely. And, my mom worked because she had to work, because my family,
That's what
my
you do.
mom she had to go back to work to help my dad contribute to the household. And so, but at the same time, I don't know what she would have done had she not worked, because she's somebody who needs to be busy. And yes, as you said, maybe some other people looked at that a certain way, like they couldn't live up to that or whatever. But, she did, when you look back now, she did miss out on a lot of things, like maybe, lunches with girlfriends or girls' trips and those kind of things. Maybe they weren't for her.
Yeah.
So, you look at life and you see the way somebody did it, and then you see the way somebody else did it. And not until as you age, do you really think like, I don't know what's right or what's better.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's just, we do things or my mother did things just because that's the way it had to be done.
Sure.
She didn't have choices like I have choices.
Yeah.
And I have choices because she and my father worked so hard,
Right. Like that's
so
what it's all about. We're all only as able to pursue the paths and our dreams because of the hard work our parents and grandparents did before us. It sounds like, I mean, that's interesting because I'm always like, do you think that having it all is possible? Do you think that matriarch did? But it's like, it sounds like for a lot of, like she did it all, but it was like what she was prioritizing. It's like family, keeping up with that, like the architect, being the home architect in that way, and then working so hard. But it's like, or for female friendships or like time for creative hobby. Like those aren't
Yes.
were prioritized for her. So that wasn't all.
So my mother started making her own clothing when she was in, I believe, 7th grade, because my grandmother made clothes and they didn't have any money. So my mom wanted to make her own. So she learned, my grandma taught her, and she started making all her own clothes. So growing up, my mom made all of her own clothes.
Wow.
And she made my clothes, and she is a beautiful seamstress. So my mom would get like the Neiman Marcus catalogs, and then she would find outfits she'd like. We'd go to the fabric store. She would find a pattern and then
Cool.
fabric and make the outfit. Now, I think my mom could have had an incredible career as, she doesn't know that she would have been a designer, because in her mind, it's like, I don't know if I was that creative, because she just could do things.
Yeah.
But that's also just limiting yourself,
Sure.
She could have been, I don't know, maybe an incredible designer. She could have had a career as a tailor, like working on incredible things, Who knows? She could have done so many things. And yeah, she didn't, because it was just,
Put your head down and make money.
She did what she was supposed to do, So she wasn't able to dream and do those things. But because of those talents, I certainly benefited growing up. And that's
so
where
fun.
my love of fashion comes from, is my grandmother and my mother. So
I love that. I mean, to be able to pick and then go and customize it, that sounds like
Oh, yeah.
a dream of any fashion loving kid. How fun. I think
all my dresses for like my formals and proms growing up, my mom, we'd watch the Oscars or the Golden Globes or whatever. I'd find someone on the red carpet, and then we'd go and find a pattern that was similar, and my mom would make me that dress.
that's so cool.
Yeah.
My senior prom dress, I drew, and my mom's mom, my grandma, sewed it.
That's so cool.
And then my other sister wore it, and I was like, oh, I just remember that. That was like such a
You
cool
still have
experience to
it?
do it. Of course. Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
It's like shiny plum purpley.
You should wear it again.
Yeah. That'll be a good test in many ways. We'll find the right fun party to wear it to.
Yeah. No, I wore one of mine last year to a party. It was like a theme party, and I was like, oh my God, I have the perfect prom dress for this.
Cool. Oh my gosh, you have to send me a picture. What do you think your mom's biggest dream and goal was? I mean, I know you said she didn't really have time for that creative experience, but like it was just kind of like that was an afterthought.
I just think that to be totally honest with you, I don't know that my mom had like dreams and goals. I think that my mom always is somebody who goals herself daily. As far as like tasks and as much as she can accomplish. But I think that probably, I know she wanted to be a mother, I know that. And I don't know if that was just something that she just thought you just get married and you become a mom. But, she fell in love with my dad really quickly, really young. They got married within 6 months, a big 500-person Greek wedding. And I think she was really young and fun. And then I think the reality set in of life and living on a dairy with your in-laws, and then having 3 children and then working full time. I don't know that she had the time for that. I really don't. And to be totally fair, I speak to my mom first thing every day and numerous times throughout the day, and I have never asked her that question. So maybe I should.
Yeah, I guess ask her. But it sounds like she, as much as she wasn't thinking outwardly of your family and her day-to-day 9 to 5, she was still being very creative in other ways. Like she has those limiting beliefs.
Always.
So she wasn't thinking of another life where she was doing all that, but she was still a very creative person and probably was like, how lovely to be satisfied and content. Hopefully. I mean, like when I think about our parents, my parents do, just putting your head down and working because that's what has to be done, and you have to provide for your family. And it's not a matter of like chasing dreams and moving off to the big city. It's like circumstance. You have to pay bills, and this is the job, and that's the way. But to be like present and in the moment and like, oh, I love this life. This is what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a mom, and like this is what it looks like, and it's kind of like a gift in some ways.
And I don't know that she looked at it every day and said, oh, I love this life. I'm going to be totally honest with you. Like, I think now you do, I'm sure she looks on it now and feels that way, but nothing was, ever easy. It was certainly, life of, working and raising 3 children and
Sure.
keeping a clean house and all those things.
I can't, with 3 dogs, I can't do all those things. That seems like a lot. I have some rapid fire for you.
Please.
What do you admire most about your mom?
I suppose I admire her tenacity most. Yeah, you just really can't hold her down. You just can't in any way. Like, just her, she continues to keep herself going even out of retirement. She's up and takes a workout class every day at 5 a.m. and loves to see her friends at that class. And my mom she's so beautiful, and she keeps herself together, and she always looks amazing. I don't know. She's just, her tenacity, I suppose.
I love that. What is the best advice you've ever received, or something that stuck with you that she says all the time or told you?
I remember she didn't say this all the time. She said it once and it stuck.
Oh.
I was telling her about one of my friend's moms. I was like 8 or 9. And I was saying how her mom was sneaking in the shopping bag so that the husband didn't see. And I was saying, Mom, it was so weird, so-and-so had to sneak these bags in. You've never done that, And she just very seriously, as my mom does, she just looked at me and she said, Marissa, if you never want anyone to question you about how you spend your money, you make your own.
Wow.
And it just stuck. Like, I don't want anyone to question me how I spend my money. So I'm certainly going to get out there and make my own.
I love that. Well,
Yeah.
I can see why that would stick with you. It says,
I was like 8 or 9.
and you're like, I'm going to get what I want.
I got to chase those dreams.
Yeah. Noted. Heard.
Yeah. Noted.
I love it. Is there a song, beauty tip, piece of jewelry, fragrance that makes you think of her?
Yeah. Not a specific song, but music. Absolutely. The thing about my mom is she always listens to her music really loud in the car. So like you would hear her. We lived in a corner house growing up. And so the garage was on the side of the house, and you would just hear my mom pull in from the music being so loud. And we always listened to the same type of music. So like growing up, the music that I was listening to, my mom would also know and sing along. It would, whatever. But yeah, I guess music, definitely. My mom, it was just always so loud.
It was less of what the music was. It was just the volume of it.
Yes. Loud music in her car always. And she drives fast. So
that's so funny. What's one word to describe her?
I want to say strong. That's just the first thing that comes to mind. Strong, her strength. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and tenacious, but we kind of already said that, huh? Tenacity.
Yeah, no, I know she's got a strength. Like I don't know
how moms. Yeah. Mine's the same way. Amazing.
Yeah.
How do you prepare for something hard or scary? And how do you think your mom does?
How do I prepare for something hard or scary? For me, I think I try to get out of my head. It's something that I'm not very good at. And I tend to overthink things that do take me out of my comfort zone and are hard or scary. And that is one area where I think as I've gotten older, I've realized, oh, maybe I do have a touch of anxiety around certain things I never realized growing up. But I think it's just sort of about getting out of my head, and then also just telling myself that like I wouldn't be put in these situations if I couldn't handle them.
Yeah.
It's like, you're here for a reason. You wouldn't have gotten here if you couldn't handle this. So that's kind of for me how I deal with those type of things.
I love the pep talk.
I do too. Oh, trust me, I talk to myself all the time, and that is something I got from my mom too.
Well, yeah, like no matter how successful somebody is or how much experience they have, it's still like walking into the unknown, still scary. And we're all just have imposter syndrome. So it's kind of like, yeah, they're asked you to be here. You're getting paid to be here because they know what you can do. So you have to believe it too. But I love it.
Yeah.
Final question. If you could say anything to your matriarch, what would it be? Can we try calling her?
I know. What would I say to her? We're not very emotional. So
it's just, you're not going to get the waterworks on this episode, guys.
No, I mean, I'm just like, it's very like stoic in a way, this family. So I've probably never said like a lot of things to her that I would say, to be totally honest with you.
Let's tell her.
No, it would just be so uncomfortable. She knows it all. No, she'd be like,
thank you.
But anyway, I don't know. I think that I would actually like to ask her what was the question, what her dreams and goals were.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what she would say to that, to be totally honest.
Well, you're tomorrow morning.
But I would just, I would just like to say to my mom, I would actually just tell her how much I appreciate her. And to be honest with you, I would tell her, because it's so odd for me, I would just simply say, I love you.
Yeah.
That's it.
Do you not say that on the phone to each other?
No, never.
Oh.
No, never.
I love you and how appreciated you are. It goes so far with everybody. We should all say it more, Yeah,
she knows she's so appreciated. But yeah, I would just simply say I love you, because that would really just throw her.
That's really she's gonna be wondering the rest of the day what's up.
She knows.
That's so sweet.
She knows it. She knows it. I know it.
Yeah.
It's just the way we grew up.
Just have a different kind of like relationship. That's not.
Yeah. No, it's just,
gushy.
it's just, we're just like very to the point in the family, if you know what I mean.
No, I get it. Not everybody's like gushy, emotional, fluffy.
I mean,
connected, like,
Court, if you didn't know that from me yet.
No, I'm like, I get it. No, I feel like I was like, maybe she hates me. Maybe she tolerates me. I don't know. It's been a couple weeks, because you are very stoic. And then you're like, oh, that's just, it's compartmentalized. It's direct and to the point, and it's not bitchy. It's just like, you're like dry.
I just have to take it all in before I know which way I can go. I like to listen. I like to observe before I'm going to go forward.
I get it. Well, it seems to have done you very well. And now I'm like, oh, I get it. I see that. Yeah. And that doesn't mean you don't like love things or get excited about things. It's just that you're in a different, I'm just so like, I know how my personality is very different in that way. Emotional and excitable and loud. And that's what we said at the beginning of the call. I'm like, I'm very caffeinated, but Marissa doesn't drink caffeine. So I'm like, we're just,
you know what though, but I'm always drawn to friends that way, and that are that way, because we all need that balance. You know, I need the people that are like loud and crazy and fun to bring that out in me, because otherwise I could just be like super chill and to the point and like whatever.
And I need to be more super chill and to the point in some instances. I feel like the more we travel together, the more it's like we bring out both of those sides, and so in person for sure.
We travel really well together. We need a trip soon.
Yeah, let's manifest it. Let's take us somewhere fun. Well, thank you so much for your time. I feel like we could talk on and on about so many topics here. I've learned so much about you, learned so much from you. I mean, beyond like beauty and hydration and face oils, I've learned about having my own business and just styling, and now advice from your mom. And I love it. If you all are just as encouraged and excited to see what Marissa is doing, then you can go find her on the gram, MNM Machado. So, or I guess on TikTok as well. Same handle?
I think maybe it's Marissa Machado on TikTok. I haven't been very active there lately, but yes, definitely can find me on Instagram at MN Machado.
Give her a little comment. Tell her you listened.
Yeah. Follow like, my series of Come to Work with Me.
Yeah.
Hang out with me.
Exactly. Well, thank you. Have an amazing day.
Thanks
and
for having me,
hopefully we'll see you IRL very soon.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.